Today on UWS campus, myself and my fellow journalists had the pleasure of interviewing the head of Scottish Athletics, John Rodger, and former Olympian Derek Hawkins. First up, John Rodger discusses the importance of grassroots in fostering homegrown talent in Scottish athletics.
It's essential. It wouldn't operate without the grassroots. First, any athlete, if I could think of all the athletes that you would know in Scotland, they've all come into a club. And at a fairly early age as well. They've come into a club, they've developed through that club, they've gone to university, they've gone on to greater things.
On the issue of athletes moving to America, this is what he had to say.
One of the big issues facing us, a lot of them now go to the US, and we would get half a dozen letters a year. Could you please pass this on to this athlete or that athlete? Because they just scan all the results and they see how the rankings are doing, and they know all the athletes are the best in Scotland.
Next in the running order, John discusses the validation that comes from seeing the athletes from his clubs make it to the heights of global sports.
Well, people like Derek joined the club at 9, right? Trema Rike, you've maybe heard of, she joined the club at 9 as well. We've taken these athletes all the way through, all the way through the difficult years, if you like, and you get them to international standard. And I can tell you something, you don't know when an athlete comes into the club. In fact, if I knew an athlete at 16 or 17 was going to be an Olympian, it'd be worth a fortune.
Well, one of those forementioned Olympians is Derek Hawkins, and he discusses with us today the key lessons he took away from his time in Rio. What would you say were the most significant lessons that you learned as your time as an Olympian?
Good question, I guess. Sometimes things don't work out for you the way that you expect it to, but you've just got to keep going. So, about 10 weeks out from Rio, I got a stress fracture in my sacrum, which is my pelvis, and literally only started running about 10 days before the race. So it was sometimes things don't work out for you, but you've still got to go forward. So when that happened, I had a bit of day to feel sorry for myself. Then I had to come up with this cross-training plan with my physio, the strength and conditioning coach. I was fortunate to be Scottish Institute of Sport supported at the time. And it was literally, right, how are we going to do this? And we did that.
That's all for today at UWS News. I'd like to say a big thanks to Derek Hawkins and to John Rodgers for their time, and we'll see you next week.